Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Obey. Thank you for stopping by the collection room. Today we're looking at some comics. It's more from the Warp series. As you know, I recently acquired the entire run of Warped, or Warp. It is Warped, very much so. Very weird stuff in here. This is one of the freakiest comics I've probably ever come across, and that's saying something for a comic done unironically. Like, of course, there's comics that are weirder, but they're like intentionally weirder. And this one, it's like it wasn't aware of how odd it was, in my opinion. So today we're looking at 5 through 6, or no, sorry, 5 through 8. If you want to see the first 4 issues, go back a couple videos. I did a few. And I do have a little bit of scratch in my voice today, a little bit of a sore throat, probably dying. So we'll just kind of move on from that and cover this Warped comic. This comic from, 40 years ago that we got to talk about. And let's see, 1983. I was born in 81. So, yeah. This comic's old. I don't like, one thing I've noticed, and you'll notice it too, and it's creepy. Everybody has a weird, face right over their junk. Everybody, or they have like a thing that draws the eye to there for some reason. I can only imagine that this is some sort of leftover thing from the fact that this was a play. So this would have been actually, anytime you see anything really disturbing or anything like that, just keep in mind that this would have been done in spandex in front of a live studio audience at some point, which is just amazing if you think about it. Yeah, this was some sort of Broadway musical or something that they turned into a comic. That is not something you see every day. That is definitely not, which is probably why it is so warped. And it does, the reason why I loved Warp is because of all these reasons. It's because it's so odd, it's so bizarre. You got beautiful art in the thing. You got beautiful women and creatures and things going on. It also walks that beautiful line between a sword and sorcery book and a pure sci-fi book. So you got swords. I think there's a wizard in here. You got space travel. You got the whole menagerie of oddity, and I appreciate that. And one thing this book does not do is does not disappoint. Every page, somebody has something new and weird attached to their crotch, and there's a big bold page of something bizarre going on. I hate it when you get a fantasy book that you flip through and it's just this is a normal, this just looks like, a regular normal Earth scenario, or it just looks boring. When you have these kind of characters and sets and scenes and costumes in play, don't play it safe. Just be weird. I mean, we didn't buy a comic book so that it would be, mundane. We want the bizarre, which is, Warp definitely lives up to that. Warped words, and I'm trying to remember how long this series ran. I want to say it was 18 issues. I'm sorry, I told you, I said I was dying. It's 18 or 19 issues. Wow, there's your guilty party of everybody who worked on this thing. Can't say as I recognize many names, but I am not the connoisseur of artists, writers, and stuff in the comics. I always just appreciate what I see, or I don't appreciate what I see. And I don't normally drag names into it unless we're getting very specific about certain artists. Usually, if I like your work, I know your name, and if I hate your work, I know your name. But all the kind of mediocre stuff, it's kind of lost on me. And this is good stuff. The other thing in this book I've noticed, and I have not read it yet, this is just me flipping through it, being amazed, is I cannot definitively figure out who villains are. At first, the black guy in the red striped spandex that is, he looks like a Van Halen guitar. I could have swore he was the villain. Now they're working with him, so. And then I thought this moth head lady was a villain. Turns out I don't think she is either. It's just one of those stories that unravels. The aforementioned scratch in the throat is increasing. This is great panel shape, or it's not sticking to the ordinary. It's getting creative. Beautiful stuff. Yep, imminent death, just like these guys. Cumulus, shut up. Or it's cumulus. I don't know. How do you pronounce that? Behold Ego, another character from a comic book named Ego. Or maybe it's Ego. Maybe she's a waffle. Whatever she is, they've done beautiful work on her eyes. Yeah, repeatedly, the bizarre cod pieces. It's like, why? Come to think of it, you know, the bizarre chest plate there is kind of on the weird side too. But at least it's well done. It's not like, it's at least somewhat subtle. I wouldn't say it's like belligerently in your face. They at least attempted to do it subtly. I can't imagine what some of these costumes would have looked like on a stage. This would have just been unreal and bizarre. Wolf Vikings. So the comic itself was in the early 80s. I am not sure when the play was. Looking at it, it screams the bizarre dregs of the late 70s. If you look, there seems to be a lot of strange things that happened in the late 70s. And I don't know if there was just like a lot of drugs or people just stopped caring. Art took a weird shift in the 70s. People think it was weird in the 80s and 90s. It was nothing compared to the 70s. The 70s were weird, often very dark. I look at this with a lot of the like so-called classic comedy movies from the 70s, and you can get down to it. Those are pretty rough. Those are dark. Those wouldn't fly in most places today. So there was a lot of dark stuff in the 70s. And you can tell that whoever spawned this thing probably hatched the plans in the 70s, but brought it into the lighter aspect of the 80s. That is a lot of medals. I think I have a few issues of Mars somewhere, or I've at least come across the comic somewhere. The art is a little goofy, but cool and fun. It's less... See, that's the other thing I was going to say, is this walks the line between dark and creepy and what would have been normal pop culture sensibilities in the 80s. I mean, He-Man stuff could be extraordinarily dark, but the way it was presented, it was done, for the most part, pretty polished up for kids. Kind of the same way Ninja Turtles was. Not quite that polished, but you get the idea. Yeah, this is beautiful work. I'd had a couple issues of this, and I just wanted the whole run because it's so weird and because the art was so interesting. I believe this was the issue I had, First Comics. If I remember right, First is it's a subsidiary of DC. Or no, that's Impact. First is its own company, known for making Nexus, another wholly wonderful sci-fi book. Yeah. And furniture. That's a head right there. Look at that. An exploding dark hole is your head. Pretty awesome. Separate the pages. Yeah, I'm starting to feel the like burn of the throat and the vocal fry. That's another gorgeous Gorgeous page there. A lot of work on the planet, the spears. I like that. Oh, the piece is off center. It must have got bumped to the side. I don't know, this guy, something about him and his weird outfit here. He's giving me like a Judas vibes from Jesus Christ Superstar, which is another also very strange thing from the 70s. There was so much weird from then. Gorgeous stuff. A little knowledge. Little separate stories going on in the back. I always love that. It feels just like a little bit of bonus. Moth Lady. Oh, she of the butterfly eyes. This guy did good work on angles with people. He's always showing them like weird, just different angles. I like not just how he drew, but I like or what he drew. I like how he drew it. A couple other books from First. Warp, John Sable, E-Man, Starslayer. Another cover for Mars. And that is pretty much it. That's the next 4 issues of Warped. Warp. I keep wanting to say Warped. In all of its radiant, strange beauty. There it is. I will pour through the rest of these. There's not a ton. Like I said, I think there's only 18 in the series. But they all seem to be done by the same artist. They all seem to maintain the same intensity of oddity, which I also like. So I will get to those eventually. If you want to see the other 4, like I said, look back a few more videos and find these. Until then, thanks for watching. That's my story, and I'll catch you guys later.